Hello, everybody. Welcome again. Live Coding After Hours, Flutter Edition, developing a casual Flutter game from scratch. My name is Roman. I am a Flutter GDE. I am a lead organizer at GDG Lawrence. I am also a mentor for the Northeast, and I'm so thrilled, I'm so pumped to be here one more Wednesday in which I'm following up on building this application from scratch. I'm building a casual game in Flutter right in front of your eyes and just sharing my knowledge with you and sharing some of the tips. And this is again like my normal flow on how I develop applications in Flutter. Just wanted to thank everybody joining. I see a couple of people already joining in. Please join in, drop your questions, just come in here. Let's check it out. Let's see, make fun of me as I, make mistakes. But this is, again, a very collaborative process in which I will be developing a Flutter application, a Flutter casual game, completely in Flutter. I'm going to be deploying it at the end on to iOS and Android, both App Store and the Google Play. Eventually, once I finish it, this is the application that we've been tackling for the past 5 episodes. This is episode number 5, where I've been developing this application right in front of your eyes. You can go back again and take a look at the previous 4 episodes where a bunch of people already were helping me out and giving me great suggestions. But this is an application, this is a casual game. It's about a frog that needs to skip through multiple leaves and just jump across a pond. It's a pretty cool, simple game, but I've actually implemented a lot of cool advanced strategies in here, like explicit animations, state management using Provider, very custom widgets, and a lot of great stuff I've combined in this single application. And I've been developing, again, thanks to your support and continuous joining this session and just checking out how I've been building this application. Again, like I mentioned, I've opened up the cameras for you to look at me at the at my regular process on how I develop applications. I usually do it like around this time. That's why I call it live coding after hours, because it's usually during the night where I'm like really the most productive. And I just wanted to open up and give you exclusive access to my thought process, my development process, and how I build Flutter applications. In this case, I wanted to make it a simple game, so you could actually, have fun, take a look at it, and enjoy the learning process. Because I'm actually implementing a lot of great strategies, like I mentioned, state management, explicit animations, inter-widget communication, custom widgets, stateful, stateless, a lot of really cool things. I'm gonna be implementing Firebase integration. I'm gonna be doing, storing information about the application for the device, like for the in the local device. I'm going to be implementing a lot of cool things, but in this particular session I'm going to be tackling more on the application. As you can see, in today's session I'm going to be continuing building more widgets, creating more logic for this game so that the user can now, for example, actually let me just show you the application, exactly what we're going to be building. This is where we left it off last time. This is the application. Let me just reload the application real quick, and then you will see where we left off last time. So this is the application, skipping frog. And then when you hit the, for example, the help button, there's going to be something in the help in there to show people how to play. The options, you can switch between easy and hard. We still haven't delved much into that. You're going to be able to see the leaderboards. That's when we tackle the Firebase aspect of it, where we're going to be pulling the leaderboards from Firebase. And last but not least, the main thing that we've been focused on is in the playability of this application, where we've been developing the main game page. The game so far, this is what we've had so far. A user can just swipe on multiple directions on the screen, and that is what makes the frog jump up and down. So when you swipe, you would see the frog just jumping across the pond on the leaves. You need to match on the direction of the leaves, and then you swipe on that direction. Let's say the next leaf is pointing to the left, then you swipe left. If the next leaf is pointing to the right, you swipe right. If the next one is going up, then you swipe up. But if you swipe in the direction that is not the next leaf, we should be able to notify the user that they did the wrong swiping, and then we have to deduct 1 life out of them. And that is the playability of the game. You continue swiping across the pond, and then you get across the pond, you collect points, you collect little bugs, and then you make sure that you make it in the shortest amount of time all the way to the end, and that is what makes you win the game. The leaderboards will be filled with people who have beat the highest score, the fastest way to get across the pond. That is the highest score, and also the score on like how many bugs you collect along the way without losing the lives. You can collect lives. That's also some logic that we're going to be implementing. But tonight I'm going to be continuing on the playability of this game. I'm going to be creating more state management, more inter-widget communication, more custom widgets. Just wanted to say, hey, Serhan, how you doing, buddy? You are a rock star, buddy. I love the game that you've been developing. You should drop it in the chat so people can take a look at your talent. So Serhan, he's been developing a game also, and he also published it. He has it available for the web, so that's an amazing way. Again, I'm glad that at least you've been picking up a couple of things here and there from the things that I've been showing. But you have a lot of talent. Please continue building on your games. Anybody else is building games, casual games like this, very simple, really quick, but at the same time very engaging and full of animations in Flutter, please let me know. I can give you I can share the spotlight and shed some light on that and give you props as well. So Serhan, thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, as a reminder, as every Wednesday, I'm gonna be raffling off something for those of you guys who are joining. So as a token of my appreciation, I'm gonna be raffling a Roman Just Codes t-shirt, just like this one. So make sure to tweet Flutter Life Coding during the duration of the session. And at the end, I'm gonna pick a winner, and I'm gonna be shipping you a t-shirt, a Roman Just Codes t-shirt. Last week we raffled a Flutter t-shirt, but today I'm gonna be raffling a Roman Just Codes t-shirt. Promoting my my merch, and again, as a token of my appreciation, make sure to tweet Flutter Life Coding. I'm gonna be dropping it. You can just take a look at the screen, but I can also type it here, Flutter Life Coding. Make sure to tweet with that tag, follow me, tweet out with that tag, with a hashtag, and make sure that then at the end of the session, like about an hour and a half, we're gonna be raffling off a t-shirt for a lucky winner. So why don't we start? Let's go ahead. Thank you so much again for joining. Let's hit it right away. So like I said, this is where we ended it off. I'm gonna be making some tweaks to the application. As you see, like I'm swiping. If I swipe on the wrong direction, like it's supposed to be left, but I'm swiping up, you see how in the terminal you're seeing up, like it's going. If I swipe then to the left, then you see the correct you see the correct swiping going on. So at least I need to make sure that I match on the correct leaf that I see next. So those are the things that we're going to be tackling today. Make sure to pay attention. Keep tweeting Flutter Life Coding. Drop your comments in the chat. If you just see me soon doing something wrong, you want to keep me in check, just like Serhan is doing. He always keeps me in check. Buddy, thank you so much for joining again. Let's rock and roll now. So one of the things that I wanted to do real quick is, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I didn't do it last time. I'm gonna do it today. You actually can still scroll like from underneath this. Like you can still scroll on the list view. So I'm going to be fixing that so that people don't like scroll accidentally on the list view underneath it. So let me show you where that is. So you remember the pages that we have, like a very simple structure. We have a folder structure, and on our pages, this is the game page. This is the one that we're working on. This is the game page. So in the game page, we have the lily pond. The lily pond is the widget that represents the whole, the whole pond with all the leaves. So I created it as a separate widget. So I'm gonna navigate to that widget. And you see here that is a very simple implementation. So I have a list view with just a bunch of rows that each one represent then the leaves. So what I forgot to do last time was actually adding like block the scrolling on the list view If I try to scroll under here, I would be able to at some point. Like if I do that, I will get to scroll. So the way to disable scroll on a list view, in this case, the way that you do it is you have to implement you have to be in the list view builder first of all, and then you implement the physics. So physics is that property if you just hover over it. It's just that capabilities that you give to a list view so that it performs the scrolling. But if you want to block it, there's a simple way to do it. You could just do something like this. You could say const never scrollable scroll physics. Just by doing that, is right here. It says create a scroll physics that does not let the user scroll. So I'm just blocking. The user will. The only way that this list view will scroll is only when I swipe. I'm gonna do it programmatically, so I'm just swiping for programmatically, and that is what will make the scroll view scroll, not by doing it like just by mistake, just by swiping it scrolls. No, I swipe on this swiping region, and then I trigger the scrolling on that. Got it. Some of the things that I wanted to also tweak was actually here. The spacing was a little bit off here up top in the header panel. Remember, everything is a widget in Flutter. I tried to create my widgets very compartmentalized. I like to create that a widget composition, make sure that my widgets are very encapsulated. For example, the lily pond is a widget, the header panel is a widget, the frog is a widget. Later, we're gonna be making some additional tweaks so that the leaves are also widgets, and is not everything here as you see it inside of my item builder. These are how each rows get generated, but I don't want them to be just like that thrown in there. Why? Because each leaf later on, we're going to be listening to changes and to things being notified. So I want those leaves to also listen to changes so that they can rebuild themselves. That's something that I always continue doing. So let me just make some changes here in the widgets. Remember, I created a very simple structure. So in the widgets, I have the game header panel, which is this guy up here. Later on, we're going to continue. You see like all these things hard-coded. Later on, we're going to be populating that with, again, with the values of like the score, how many lives the user has at the moment, how many bugs the frog has been eating, the time has elapsed, and the points that they've been accumulating. So those things we're going to be checking, but at least I wanted to fix a little bit on the spacing here on the, for example, here, like in these two places, I wanted like next to the score, I wanted like a little more width on this sides box just to give it a little more space. I'll try 16, and if you see here's like a little bit tight between the icon and the number. So this is it. See, this is the icon. I added just a little bit of spacing in between, and then I have the text widget, which represents either like the bug number, the count, or the live count. So if I reload, then you see how it shifted a little bit. That's kind of like something that I wanted to do before I proceeded and do that. Now what we want to do, if I show you again like the application, you see how the application now shows like a little bit of a bug right on top of the leaf. At the beginning, if you go back to the previous videos, I actually added a property to the leaves, to the leaf models. Here, a leaf would know if it actually contains a bug or not. So we're going to be leveraging that property in just a minute. That was a property that I populated dynamically, actually at random. I'll just say like, okay, just randomly assign bugs to leaves, just like that. But it's actually driven by a flag of the leaf model. So that is what I'm going to be leveraging in just a minute. So for now, I'm good with that. So I'm just going to close the game header panel. But I need to add that image. Let me see if the image is already here. I think it's just called like bug.png. I think I have it. Let me see if I have it somewhere around here in my... let me just make sure that I do have it. Okay, there it is. So it's just an image called bug.png. And then I'll show you. It's just that. It shows like a little bug. The same one that I showed. I'm sorry. I'm going to switch back to my screen. So I will show you. So the bug is there. That is the image that will represent the bug that I'm going to be showing on top of the leaf. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing now. So let's just now start tackling this. So how am I going to do it? I already added the bug image. I needed to also now show it on each one of those leaves based on that flag. If it contains a bug, if that leaf model, like I'm pulling it here. If the leaf model, for example, I'll be doing here later something like this, like leaf model. Sorry, I'll just be doing like leaf model dot contains bug. If it contains bug, I'm just gonna show the image, something like that. Very simple. So let's do some refactoring, because I really wanted to do some refactoring in here. As I told you, I don't want all this logic right here in the item builder. I truly want to extract that as a separate widget. I'll probably call it like leaf row, and then leaf row will be a separate widget, like I told you. The reason why I create separate widgets as opposed to like helper methods is because every widget will have its own life cycle, its own build method, and all the changes will be only localized to that single widget. As opposed to me rebuilding the whole page just because I made a tiny little change in a leaf, I don't want to rebuild the whole thing. I want only that leaf object to rebuild, nothing else. So let's try. Let's try. So I wanted to add also like one color that I was missing in my helper. So let me just take that out of the way. I'm just gonna create, and I'll show you what that color is. I'll do static const color. You can use theming. When I use colors, I kind of like create like a static class, and then I have like all of my classes, all my properties in there. I kind of like to use it like that, but I'm just gonna like keep it like that for now. You can implement theming, you know, the way you want it. This is the way that I decided to go about it. So I'm gonna call it like burned yellow, something like that, and then it will be just a color that will represent like the one of those colors that I need for. One of the colors that I need for when I create those little messages later. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So at least I wanted to take care of that. Just want to just clear that out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is, again, remember that refactoring that I just mentioned. So this loop right here that takes care of creating the rows for the leaves, I don't want it like this. I actually want to create literally a widget called leaf row. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extract everything inside of here, and all I want to do is return something that looks like this. Return leaf row. You see, this is how you do like refactoring. You make it work. Once you're good with that, then you see the potentials for refactoring. Don't try not to refactor from the beginning, because it's hard to like, you know, have a crystal ball and like guess how it's gonna work. You can make some assumptions, but what I want now is all that thing that you saw there, I want extracted into a leaf row. Then leaf row, I'm gonna add something that will look like this. It will have the row index, and then I can pass the index to it. So now what I will do is I will generate a leaf row per leaf model, and then I'm gonna create this widget called leaf row, just as simple as that. So I'm gonna go to my widgets, I'm gonna create a class just called like that, leaf row.dart. For now, I'm gonna create it like as a stateless widget. So I'm just gonna say stateless, and what I'm calling it, leaf row. I'm just gonna call it leaf row. It extends stateless widget. I import my stuff, and remember the stuff that I cut out of that return. I'm just gonna paste it right here. That's it. You see, so I've just brought it over. That's exactly what I'm returning out of my build method. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm just replacing everything in here, but of course I need to add, again, the parameters that I added in here, the row index. So I'm injecting that row index inside of my leaf row, because I'm gonna then determine how to display the leaf inside of that leaf row. So I need the row index. So I'm gonna be generating this. I'm gonna be creating it. This value is not gonna change. That's why I'm gonna keep it as final. And then I'm just gonna call it row index. Of course, I want this as a required parameter, so I'm just gonna say require this.row index. So you see, I'm refactoring. You see me refactoring, it's all good. So I'm just refactoring. You see, I need to import a couple of things. For example, like the game service. I may not need it. Well, I still need it from here, but I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab this game service thing because I need it in my leaf row. So I'm just gonna bring it right over here. What I can do is I just bring it inside the build method. So I can just grab it like you saw me copying it over there. So I'm just gonna bring it in here and do the proper imports. You see, I'm gonna import the provider, of course. I'm gonna import my game service. Remember that game service is that service that initializes things. It keeps track of inventory on how things are. Like it's gonna initialize the frog position, the leaves, stuff like that. So let's continue. So let me see what else it needs to import. You see, it's just, I brought the whole thing in here. Let's make sure that it works. I'm just bringing over this thing, and then I'm going to just, I think I need to just bring this over here. I need to import the leaf model also. There we go. And instead now the index is going to be this row index that I'm injecting. So I'm just going to say row index. So what I'm doing here is I just grabbed that chunk of code that represented each row. So now I'm just encapsulating it into a separate widget because I want to have more encapsulation within that. So now check this out. So I'm gonna save here. I'm gonna go back to my lily pond, and I'm gonna import this newly created widget called leaf row. So I'm just gonna import it. Let's see if it works, because I just rebuilt the whole thing. Let's reload it. Let's take a look. Let's see what it looks like. It should be the same way. There should be no changes. I refactored whatever was in here in the item builder into a separate widget, and I called it leaf row. Then leaf row, I just moved all the code in here. That's all I'm doing. No other changes. You just saw me. See, this is even like out of line, so I'm just gonna move it over. But this is just referring to looping through all the leaves across the pond. Remember, 4 items. And then checking whether the current leaf is the random index coincides with the 0, 1, 2, or 3 in that row, and then we just display it. That's all it's doing. So let's see. So you see, everything should be exactly the same way. Functionality hasn't been affected, so it's all good. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna continue. See, functionality is not affected. All good. You see, we didn't break anything. It was all good, and at least I was able to make sure to move all that code from here from the lily pond. It was a little bit messy. Now I was able to move it inside the leaf row. So now, how further can I take this refactoring? Remember, I said that I want to display just like in here in the application. You see the leaves have like the little bug on top and a score. So that score will be like 400 all the time. So I want to display it here, but then I'm going to have like a bunch of logic in here. I don't want that either. So what should we do? Should we then extract all these things? Like each leaf will have a logic. Like some leaves may have a bug, some leaves may not have a bug. So you see where I'm going here? That should be like some logic encapsulated within that widget. And it should have like its own business logic even, because I'm going to have to determine when to show the bug, when not to show it, when to show a score. Now it's telling me that, you know, this is already telling me that the leaf has like a logic on its own. It should be like a separate entity. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take all of this outside. You see, more refactoring. I'm going to take all of this out here. And then I'm going to create something else, which I'm going to call it leaf. I can just call it something like that, like a leaf. It's going to be a widget that just represents each individual leaf. So what will this leaf widget do? See, it hasn't been created. But what this leaf, if you see the code that was there before, let me just undo it. This leaf will need the dimensions. Of course, I need to pass the dimensions into it. I need to pass what the leaf index, meaning this R here, like the row, the index in that single row, 0, 1, 2, or 3. And then I'm gonna do the same logic. I need the dimensions, of course. I'm gonna need the row index. I'm gonna pass this guy in because I need to know where in the row I am, which row this leaf belongs to. And you need to pass even the model, because I'm gonna be consuming more properties of the leaf model. So let's do that. So I'm just gonna grab all this code. See, I'm just gonna cut it. Like, I'm just gonna cut it out, and I'm gonna come up with something later called the leaf. And the leaf, just like I explained, I'm gonna need something called leaf index, and I'm gonna pass the row index, because inside is where I'm gonna do the logic on when to show a leaf or show an empty space, or inside of the leaf I'm gonna show like the. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. I was about to go, continue. I was about to continue. Thank you very much, sir. It would have been funny if I had finished the code just showing the app. But thank you for the reminder. Thank you so much. So let's continue. Now let me go again. If I undo it again, let me just show. I'm just gonna cut all this code and come up with something called like a leaf, like this. See? And then now is when I'm gonna provide something like a leaf index, which I'm gonna be passing like the R on that. I'm gonna pass the leaf. It will be the leaf model, right? Because I'm gonna consume other properties in there. I'm also gonna pass the row index. I'm gonna need the row index on that leaf, and the row index is being passed from the top, so I'm gonna be using it further down in the hierarchy. And last but not least, I need the size. I could call it leaf dimension. I could call it leaf size, something like that. And I'm gonna need that value, the game service.leaf dimension. That now, when I create this leaf, all the logic that was there before, which was this, now will be encapsulated into a separate widget. And then in there, I'm gonna do the logic that pertains to that. You see, don't get like discouraged because you do this hierarchy and you do this encapsulation. Your widgets are gonna be only built at that level, as opposed to at a higher level where you're gonna have to re-render every single row. Things that are not required to be rebuilt, you're gonna be rebuilding. That's not the proper way to go about it. This is the way to go about it. So now let's create an object. another widget called leaf, just like that. So I'm just gonna go create a leaf.dart. Let's create it as a stateless class, as a stateless widget, just like we did before. Stateless widget, so we're gonna be doing that. There it is. And I'm gonna call it just leaf. I'm gonna import my my material just like always. And the same thing, remember, I'm just gonna grab this container, paste whatever I had there. It's just that, literally, it's just grabbing the code, bringing it over into a new widget, and then just do what you promised to do. Like I'm gonna create a final, leaf model, because this is not gonna change. I only need the reference of it. So I'm gonna need the leaf. I'm gonna pass a value for the what did I say? I said the leaf index. Okay, so I'm gonna pass a leaf index, which is gonna be what type? If it's an index, it's gonna be like an integer. Yeah. I'm gonna pass also a final integer row index, because I need to know where the leaf needs to know which row it is, like which row that leaf is in. And then the final double for the leaf size, because now we're gonna, instead of pulling this leaf dimension from the game service, we're just gonna inject it from the top. We can even consume it in here. We could do that too. But I just wanted to make sure that, let me see if this would have been cool if it, there you go, add final figure formal parameters. Let me see if it does it. There you go, awesome. I love that. See, it already did it for me. That was pretty cool. Like I didn't have to do it, it just did it for me. I'm just gonna expand it like that. I love, the IntelliSense, the autocomplete and whatnot. So now that I have all my properties in here, now all I need to do is just say, for example, is not leaf anymore. So I'm just gonna call it leaf. All I have to do is just do these little bit of replacement. And then other than that, everything should be working exactly the same way. So it's not index anymore. Well, it's not R anymore. It should be row index. What else? I think is gonna be, for example, I think this is leaf index actually. This is leaf index. Leaf dimension, I think I just call it leaf size. Yeah, like that. So I'm just gonna do a couple of replacements, and then this is just leaf. See, and then see everything else is the same. I'm just gonna copy. You see, very simple. All I did was just replace the stuff that we had. I can just bring this over, something like that. See, the leaf index is the leaf index, meaning the row, the index of the, not the row index, the leaf index. Because the row index, we're gonna use it for other stuff later. But the leaf index is this guy right here. This is what determines if the leaf random index is either the 0, 1, 2, or 3, and then I'll display it accordingly. So I have my leaf.dart. I'm pulling all that stuff. I'm adding it there. It looks much cleaner now. I kind of like the refactoring that I've been doing. Again, Sirhan, thank you for keeping me honest there and keeping me in check, buddy. Hey, keep working on that game, buddy. Keep working on that game, because it looks pretty cool. My son was really addicted to it, like cat something. That was pretty cool, man. So keep at it, brother. Okay, thank you. So let me just save here. I'm just going to import this newly created widget. I'm just going to import my new leaf. You see, I'm gonna save that. Hey Randall, what's going on, brother? I say I could have done those as size objects. Yes, I could have done that, but all I wanted, just like I could have kept like the size objects, because you either have like the width and the height, but at least I just wanted to pass it on like that, create like my own properties and whatnot. It's also a valid suggestion. And thank you, Randall, another Flutter GDE in the house representing. Keep tweeting Flutter Life Coding, guys. Tweet with the hashtag Flutter Life Coding at the end of the session. I'm going to be raffling a Roman Just Codes t-shirt at the end of the session. So tweet with the code, with the hashtag Flutter Life Coding. So at the end of the session, I'm gonna pick a lucky winner, and then you can get a cool swag like that. I'm just promoting my merch and whatnot. So stick around. I'm gonna continue doing that. So thank you, guys. Great. So yeah, I don't need this anymore. I could have used this, but I think I want to just I don't need this. Oh, actually, I am passing it. I can just use the leaf dimension right here, because again, that dimension, I'm actually feeding it from the top. I'm using the media query, and I'm using that to kind of determine some sizes that I need in my in the widget. So if I rebuild this, let me just rebuild it one more time. Everything should be working exactly the same. I'm just doing some refactoring. If I click, my widgets are there. They're still loading appropriately. If I keep swiping, everything should be the same way. So all good. You see the refactoring now is kind of, bearing some fruits. So you see now everything is a little bit lighter. Now we have everything a little bit more organized and in a very hierarchical way. Not everything is inside of the build method. And the widgets now, what we're going to be doing is making sure that each widget is encapsulated, all the logic is in there, and the rebuilding of that widget will be encapsulated and localized to just that widget, as opposed to the whole build method. So something like that is a good way to go about it. So let's continue. Everything is looking good, but at least I wanted to do that refactoring, so now I can support the next thing that I'm gonna do. And I promise I will switch back. I'm just gonna do this real quick to show you now. You see on top of the leaves, we're gonna be showing like the little bug. So that is what we're gonna be doing now. We're gonna show the little bug on top. So how we're gonna do it? We're gonna go to the leaf. So it's the leaf is the only one that should be concerned about that. No one else. So if I go to that leaf widget right here, I'm only doing the simple logic to say like, okay, depending on my index, if between 0, 1, 2, or 3 within those random indexes, my widget is the leaf index, that random index matches the one in the iteration, okay, so I'm gonna show it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna show like an empty box. But I want it to be also like the same size because I wanted to kind of distribute the width across the row so that I can just show the leaf appropriately. And then it will look more like evenly and more symmetric. So let's do that. So what I'm gonna do is say, okay, so instead of doing, for example, the leaf, I definitely want the leaf. But that leaf, what I want to do is I want to do let me show you again. So for example, here, I'm just gonna do, as you see, the bug image is gonna be on top of the image, and there's also gonna be like a number on top of that leaf image. I need a stack for that. Nothing else, just a stack. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be wrapping this image inside of a stack so I can place all those other widgets right on top of it. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So a trick, I don't know if you guys do it. If you go here, like wrap your widgets, there's no stack. This is my trick. I say wrap with column and then I rename it stack. I can do that. So I do that. So I wrap it in a stack, I wrap it in a column, then I just rename it stack, because stacks have children, and then they're gonna just overlay the widgets right on top of each other as you place them as children. So the first, of course, is gonna be the image. On top of the image, I want to place that little column, a column that shows like the little image of the bug, and then it's gonna show me like the score below. So this is how we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna have an image right there. That is the image. Now here I'm gonna show the column with bug and score. How do you do that? Very simple. Let's create a column, because I'm gonna be adding a column. And then first I'm gonna be adding the image of the bug, and then right underneath it, just a little text widget with the score. For now, we'll just do like 100. Let's try something like this. Check this out. So I'm gonna be using the image from my assets. Remember, I just imported it. I'm just gonna say image.asset, and I'm gonna say that, where the image is. So assets, imgs, bug.png, I think it's something like that. There you go. So I'm gonna use, for example, like some dimensions for my bug. I'm gonna be using the size of the leaf as a reference. So I can do something like this. I can say like, with leaf size divided by 2, something like that. Let's start with something like this. I'm gonna do width and height like half of the size. Let's see if it starts looking. Let's see if this starts showing up. So if I try something like this, I need to make sure that at least my column doesn't like stretch too much, right? So what I want to make sure that my widget takes up only the enough size, the enough height based on the contents of the widget. Sirhan says, like using Builder for consumer, best coder. That's right, that's correct, Sirhan. You exactly did that. You did exactly that. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm gonna do that, Sirhan. You'll see it. You'll see it. So I'm glad that you see. I do these things to validate it with people. Like, am I doing this right? And then I'm glad that someone like you just come up and be like, yeah, I did it like that too. And Randall keeps also mentioning things, and I'm like, yeah, I do those tricks too. So yeah, you just come up with whatever works for you. So for that column, of course, remember, if you want your column to be like the minimum size, you do main axis size. Main axis size, that min what it will do is it will just compress your column to just occupy the height based on on this children. So I don't want it larger than that. Oh, you say you learned it from me? I think I may have learned it from somebody else, but I'm glad anyway. Thank you. So let me just do that. Let's also, I want it centered. Like I want things centered. Like for example, I want the image and the text to be on the same so I use, of course, cross-axis alignment, and then I do center. I also do main axis alignment, center. This is nothing crazy. Everybody knows these properties. Now if I reload, you see like it's looking like it's there. See, the bugs are showing. Oh, but I'm just showing them all the time. We're gonna take care of that in a minute, but at least let's make sure that they're showing. So you see the bug is showing on top of the leaves. A way to also mitigate this, we're inside of a stack. You can use center. So I'm gonna center that, like I'm gonna wrap it inside a center because we're inside of a stack. So I'm gonna save that, reload, and let's see, there it is. Okay, see, still not centered. Why? There's another way to also mitigate this. You can actually, the stack also has like ways that you can like align your widgets, but the way that I like to do it is not only I center the column, but I also like to constrain the stack. I want my stack to be, like pretty much like provide like some boundaries to it. You can add like a size box. Let's add other things to this column so that we can continue. Remember I said that I want to add the image, but I also want to add like a label underneath it. Let's take a look. So the way that I do it, I'm just gonna add a text widget, nothing crazy. The widget is gonna have like a value. For now, let's just keep a hard-coded value. We're gonna work on that later. But at least let's show things in there. So I'm gonna add a style, and I'm gonna say text style as always. I'm gonna say text style. I want the text to look like white, like a little bit white. So I'm just gonna say colors.white, and I want to add like some font size to it. Let's try like 20 pixels. Let's see what it looks like. If I save this and reload, you see now we have a bug, and then we have the little text widget right underneath it. So you see, that's what we want. That's what I want. But it's looking like really below that. Let's add actually some spacing underneath it. Like I don't want it to be like too underneath it. I want to push it up. The easiest trick in the book is you can use a size box. You can wrap the text in a container and add margin underneath it or padding. Suit yourself. The way that I like to do this, and I'll do, for example, let's do like 25 pixels underneath it. Let me try that. It still looks a little weird, but I want to make sure that at least I surround now my stack. Like right now, I have the stack with an image and the center widget. I still now want to, I feel like I want to create like some boundaries around the stack so that it just doesn't like go crazy. So the stack, I'm gonna wrap it inside a size box, and I will continue leveraging the leaf size. So now I have everything kind of trapped within the size of the leaf. So I'm gonna use a size box and do like height, leaf size, width, leaf size. I want those sizes in there. And then check this out. So there you go. See, that's what I want. I want that, of course I'm gonna fix that in a minute, but you see that now I want the bug on top. I want the little label underneath it. And then now you see how it is looking more like the way that I want it. So I have the leaf size, which is the width and the height. I have my stack. I think I need to change, maybe tweak a few things because of course it's now like overflowing a little bit, but which is okay. But it's great that at least I am, getting to where I wanted it to look like. Every leaf now has a little bug. It will have the little the label underneath it. That's pretty much what I want. So maybe we can actually decrease some of the heights in here just to make sure that it doesn't overflow, something like that. You see, so now it doesn't overflow. It kind of looks a little better, and then you can adjust it as you see fit. But in this particular case, this is how I want to keep it. Now you see how the leaves have the little number. They have the, this is 20. Why don't I also decrease that? Because I also see like the font a little big. Why don't I do like a 15 on that? that looks better. Can I bring this back to where it was? Oh, I like this better. So the font, I made it much smaller. So I made a font size of 15. I kind of look this much better. The text looks there, the image is there, and it's not covering the image completely. And I kind of like that approach. So let's keep it like this instead. I reverted back. So now let's keep it in there. So you see, and I was showing for everybody. I need to make sure that it doesn't show for all the leaves. We need to add a property that then says, if your leaf contains a bug, then you show it. Remember why we were passing the model in here, the leaf model? The leaf model is just a class that has the index. Remember, that is the index that represents the random position, either 0, 1, 2, or 3. Contains bugs, just a random flag that I just say, every certain amount contains a bug, is random. Is a breakpoint, just shows for at every breakpoint, and the direction is just the leaf direction. But that's all the leaf model contains. Now I'm gonna leverage that value, and all I'm gonna say is, show me this little guy right here. Show me that little structure if the leaf contains a bug. That's all I'm gonna do. Look how simple. I'm just gonna say, if leaf dot contains bug. Oh, sorry. So I'm just gonna do space. If leaf dot contains bug, then you display that. Else, just don't display anything. I'm just gonna say look, I'm just gonna say const size box. Don't show me anything. All I want is just something empty. I don't want to show anything. Only if you see that it contains a bug, it should show that little structure. Otherwise, it should show me anything. Look, check this out. If I reload it, see, some do contain it, some don't contain it. So let me do a full reload, and then you see now one flag was able to drive that logic. And then if I click start, now you see that some do, some don't, because it was just a random value that is displaying whether that structure should show or not. So that's what I also keep promoting. Make that your widgets, there's no business logic in this widget. It's only rendering logic. The logic should be even fed by a model, whether you tap into a provided service or anything like that. In this case, I don't have that much logic. Here it's just saying, do I have it? Don't show it or not. This is just rendering logic. We should not be having any business logic in here. It should be either injected, retrieved, fetched, anyway, but not the business logic inside. That being said, let's continue. Now that I'm satisfied with that, now, how do I now hide? How do I know, which is the logic that I'm gonna go next? When I swipe, you see that the frog is not eating the bug. I need to make sure to tell the leaf. I need to tell the leaf, hide the bug, or pretend that you're eating the bug when the frog lands on that little leaf. That, I need to trigger a notification. I need to broadcast a change to that leaf. I need to tell the leaf, the frog is on top of you, hide that little bug. Let's pretend that the bug is eating the frog is eating the bug. How do you do that? I need to notify the leaf without rebuilding the whole widget structure. I don't want to rebuild the whole thing. I only want to rebuild that little widget when that widget knows that it's time for me to rebuild it. How do you do that? Yes, you guessed it. Maybe Sirhan, you may have guessed it. I create a service. So I create a service that broadcasts the change to the leaves, and then the leaf that matches the one that I am concerned about is gonna perform a rebuild. In this particular case, we can optimize it in other ways, but I'm gonna go with a service so that not the whole application reloads. It's only the leaves that rebuild. Let me show you how to do it. Very simple. So I need to broadcast what the leaf is, what the current index of the leaf is, and the row at which the leaf is, so I can rebuild that one. Let's take a look. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a service. See, I have a folder with services. I'm keeping it very simple, low profile type of structure, type of architecture, very folder-based architecture. So I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna call it leaf service.dart. This leaf service is only gonna broadcast, and only leaves will listen to it, nobody else. So I'm gonna just create it very simple. I'm gonna call it very simple. I'm just gonna call it class leave service. Is that what I call the name? Yeah, leave service. And what do? If I want to broadcast changes, I extend change notifier. So follow me on this. So I'm gonna create a service that when I swipe, at the end of the swipe, I need to tell the leaves, hey, leaves, rebuild yourself. And if you are the current one in that row, hide that little guy. Let's try that. So again, I'm gonna have to keep track of the current leaf index and the current row index. So I'll say current, I'll call it just current leaf index. I'm gonna start it, at the beginning, index 0, current, and then I'll say current, I'll do like current row index. I need to know the row as well. And then someone is gonna pass that over to that service, and whoever is subscribed to that service is gonna rebuild. If it matches in the criteria, it will rebuild. Everybody else will just stay the same. Simple as that. So I want to trigger that via a method. I'm gonna just call a method notify. Say, look at my names, like the naming convention that I use. I try to make it very explicit and very self-descriptive. So I'm gonna call it something like notify current leaf on row. Let's try something like that. And what I'm gonna do is, like, when I swipe up and I know that I'm in that particular row, I notify. Are you in that row? Are you the leaf in the current row that the frog is on top of? Rebuild yourself. Hide that little guy. So I need to pass those things. I need to pass the leaf index and I need to pass the row index. All I'm gonna do is just persist those values in memory, like in that state, because remember, persist in the state, you will have to lift the state up so that other widgets can communicate via these services. So a state management, that's pretty much the premise of state management. It's just a way for two widgets to communicate in a very decoupled fashion. They don't know about each other, but they can inject the service, and one can notify another widget through that service. Very simple. All I'm gonna do is just capture those two values, like the current row index, and I'll just capture the row index. And what am I gonna do after that? Notify whoever is listening. Simple as that. I'll just notify whoever's listening. Who's gonna be listening? You guessed, a leaf, because this is a leaf service. So Sirhan, you already guessed it. I'm gonna use a consumer inside of that leaf widget. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. So you guessed it. Anyway, so after I have the service, very simple. All I need to do now is consume this service in the place where I'm gonna be doing the swiping, and then the leaf is also gonna consume it, listen to the changes being broadcasted, and then I'm gonna say, oh, am I the current row? Am I the leaf in this row? Then I'm gonna rebuild. So let's try that. So check this out. So I'm gonna go to the swiping gesture service. This is the service that handles the swiping. Check this out where I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna say, this is where this is where, if the leaf matches the swiping direction, remember this one? Here is where I perform like the jumping of the frog. But when I'm done with the animation, when I'm done with this, when the swiping animation ends, I need to say there, okay, now it's time to say, okay, is the frog on top of a leaf that has a bug? So hide the little bug in there. So let's try to do that. So the way that I would do it in this case, I would have to inject the leaf service in here. Leaf service. You see how other services can inject one another without causing like circular dependency? You could do it like that. It's not like a front upon or anything. You're actually just the logic is communicating behind the scenes. The logic is not occurring within the widget. It's actually doing between services. So the swiping gesture service is going to trigger another service that then the widget is listening to. Check this out. So I'm just going to say leaf service, and then of course I'm going to be using provider.off leaf service context listen equals false. I don't want this to rebuild. I only want to pull a reference to this service, this inherited service, the provider, and I'm now going to trigger the notify. What did I call the method? Notify current leaf on row. Whoever now is listening to the service is going to rebuild. Check this out. So now I say leaf service dot notify current leaf on row. At this point, I know what the current leaf is. It's right here. The next leaf. The next leaf is the one that is up here. So now when the animation ends, it's still the next leaf. So I'm gonna pass those values in there. I'm gonna say next leaf dot index. Remember, it's that index of that leaf. That is the one that I know which one it is. Oh, so if the frog right now is on row on the current row, and it's index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. That index is the 3. So I'm gonna notify whoever is on the current row at index 3. That one is gonna wake up and say, oh, it's me, let me rebuild. So check this out. And of course I need to pass the current row. I am capturing the current row in this value, so I'm gonna pass it also to that service. So I'm gonna say leave row count, but instead I'm not gonna pass the current row. I want the previous row, remember, because it's kind of like I know what the previous row is, so I'm gonna have to say -1. Otherwise it's gonna tell me the one that was below. That's not the one that I care about. I want the one that is before, because when I swipe, that one comes down and that becomes the current one. So I still want the -1, meaning the previous one. After I pass that, of course, you're gonna, okay, I can even debug it and you can see it in memory how it changes. So I can try to, I think I can access here the Flutter, I can even show it here, look, the debugger. And then here I'll show you in the provider, you will see how the swiping is gonna swipe, and the, of course I need to inject it. So I need to inject the leaf service, so let me inject that guy in there. In the main, I need to provide it, of course, and it's gonna be a change provider, so I need to do change provider notifier. I need to provide that service, of course, and then I'm gonna say create as always, and then just provide an instance of the leaf service, because remember, I want my widgets to communicate through that service. Let me save it, and I'll do a full reload so that you will see it in memory. You will see it here in the provider. Isn't that cool? Like, you can actually debug services in here. Check this out. I'm gonna swipe now. I love the provider because of this reason. Flutter provided a dedicated tab on the Flutter developer tools. So check this out. When I swipe, and then I do swipe. Okay, it's not been persisted yet. Of course, that's okay. We're gonna be handling those values now. So now, but you see, like here, you will see other stuff that are being pulled. But the see, there it is. Okay, so it has been. It's just that I think I need to make sure that I do like that is just kept in sync with what I'm doing. So if I do this, see, it is current leaf index is 0 and the row index is 4. It's the fourth row. If I go to the next one, this will be current leaf index 1 and row 5. So if I do this, and then you will see it now, 1 and 5, like I told you. So now I know, now the leaf will know which is its current index based on this. So this is your best friend, the Flutter developer tools. Make sure to use it appropriately and accordingly, for your debugging purposes. Let's go back to the leaf. So the leaf now, Sirhan, like I mentioned, now this leaf needs to listen. Is it me who needs to rebuild and just hide this this guy, the leaf that contains the bug? I need to wrap now this whole structure inside of that of a consumer that is listening to the leaf service. Very simple. How do you guys do it? How do you guys create a consumer? I have another trick. Unfortunately, I don't have like a snippet for the consumer, but a trick for me to do it is I do this. I grab it, and then instead, I can do this. I say wrap. I do wrap in one of these, but I usually do like if this had been like another type of widget, I would have wrapped it inside a builder, and then I replace the properties. But anyway, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna hard code it here. So look, I'm gonna do consumer. I'm gonna listen to the leaf service because that's the one that this leaf widget is concerned about. So I'm gonna say leaf service. See, I did auto import there, and then all I'm gonna do here is, of course, the builder. I need to pass 3 values in the builder of the consumer, which is the context, the service, and a optional child, and then I'm just gonna drop the same thing that I had before. That's all I'm gonna do, and then all I need to do here is just say return, because I'm gonna return this thing. I'm gonna import it. So check this out. So I am listening. I am listening to now the leaf service. Any changes that happen on the leaf service, only the leaves are gonna know about it. Nobody else. So check this out. I am saying here, same thing. If it's the leaf index and then it's equals to that, yeah, we're gonna display this whole thing. But now the logic to actually hide the leaf or not, I need to pull it out of the service and then make a determination whether the leaf needs to be displayed or not. I'm just gonna do something really simple. I'm gonna create a property up here because I'm gonna extract it out of the service. I'm gonna create a boolean called hide bug on leaf, something like that, right? Hide bug on leaf. I will only hide it if the current row index is either greater or equals to the row index, meaning if the frog lands on the current index, any rows from here down won't show the little bug. Something simple. I don't need to say, the ones above. I don't care about the ones above. I only care about the ones below the one that the frog is currently at. So if I say leaf service, I need to leaf service, and then if I pull the value out of it, the current row index, if the current row index is greater or equals to the current row index, meaning the row index. So if I say if it's greater or equals to this guy, the one that we're injecting, which is the current row. Like at this point, what did we say the current row was? 5. So if I am at 5, anything below 5, you see this little bug right here, needs to go away too. Anything below that needs to go away. So I'm gonna say if it's greater or equals to the row index, you're gonna hide it. Anything greater than the row index is just gonna hide it. Actually, it's the opposite. Anything that is greater than that is gonna show it. That's what I meant. Like anything above is still gonna show it. So check this out. So all I'm gonna do here is just, you see this logic where I'm saying, if leaf contains the bug, then display it. So now all I need to say here is and if is to be shown, like if the hide bug on leaf is if it's false, meaning I'm just gonna flip the value, just gonna say to show it. So only show anything that is greater than the current row index, or if it's greater or equals to the row index, just hide it. Just actually show it. Hide it only if it's not. So if it's the opposite. So now if I reload this and I rebuild it, you will see now that every row below row index 5 equals or below is gonna hide it. So if I save that and reload it, I'm just gonna do a full reload so that you guys can see it. Oh, I have an error. I think yeah, sorry about that. Let me see. I have a little issue. Oh, sorry about that. The consumer, of course. Let me do a full reload one more time. And now let's see how after I swipe, remember, after I swipe, I am going to notify the leaf service of the current row where I am and the current index. That's all I'm gonna tell it. The leaf is gonna listen when that happens and is gonna perform this logic. Should I hide it or not? I will hide everything. I will hide it if the current row index is greater than the row index. And then check this out. So now if I go to the start, right? And then I'm gonna continue swiping. Now check this out. If I swipe, this leaf is gonna rebuild. And then if I land, it's gonna hide that little bug. So if I swipe down, gone. If I go, and then I'm going to the next one, swipe, gone. Continue, swiping, gone. Swiping, gone. Very cool, very simple. You see, try to implement your logic. Again, we're not curing cancer here. I wish I was. But it's just very simple logic that performs a rebuild only when it matches, and then it just does, and then it is only encapsulated on the leaves. It's not part of the whole lily pond. It's not part of the whole game page. It's not the frog. So none of those rebuild if they're not concerned about it. So that is the great, hey, good morning, Mr. Shinchan 5. Good morning to you in India. Thank you for joining. If you, again, a good reminder, just to take a quick break and just say, if you tweet Flutter Live Coding during the duration of the session, I'm going to ship to you a Roman Just Codes t-shirt. Just make sure to tweet with the hashtag Flutter Live Coding. I'm going to ship it to you wherever you are. It's going to take a little bit if it's an international shipping, but at the end of the session, I'm going to pick a lucky winner, and I'm going to ship you a Roman Just Codes a swag t-shirt, promoting my merch and promoting the swag, and just as a token of my appreciation for you guys joining this session. Thank you so much for joining. Everybody, keep tweeting with the hashtag Flutter Live Coding. Let's continue. So now, see, I keep swiping and the bugs go away. That is like simulating that I am eating the bugs. Later on, we're going to just now increment the count, perform. Also, we're going to be doing another service that does that, like just only rebuilds the header. The whole page doesn't need to rebuild. Only the header needs to rebuild when, let's say, I post, I eat a new bug. I need to change the value. It needs to rebuild, but not the whole page, you see? So those are the things that we're going to continue implementing. So I'm pretty happy with what we have so far. I hope you guys are taking some cues from the things that I've been doing. Now what I want to do is actually do a couple more things to make sure that I notify the user. Remember that if you look in the terminal, I'm gonna scroll it up here. If you look in the terminal, and I think I'm covering it up. Let me just make sure that it's there. Check it out. Every time I swipe, you see it up in here in the terminal, the direction in which I'm swiping. I'm swiping down, right, left, and it's matching the leaf that I'm seeing, right? This is the point of the game. You need to go as fast as you can. Swiping, collecting bugs, swiping, collecting bugs, swiping, rebuilding. If you make a mistake, let's say I'm swiping down, you see I'm swiping down, nothing happens. I need to alert the user that they've been swiping in the wrong direction. And when I swipe in the wrong direction, it's like a life being taken out of them. So that is one of the things that we need to keep track of. If I swipe in the wrong direction, I need to notify the user via a message that they swiped in the wrong direction. For that, I need to create like a system in which I provide messages to the user via this application. How would you do it? How would I do it? This is how I would do it. I would actually create another panel, yet another panel that only takes care of showing messages to the user in this game. You can use alerts, you can use boring stuff like that, but let's make it more interesting. I'm gonna create like my own messaging panel system that I will provide notifications to, and only that panel will render and show the appropriate message to the user. If I swipe in the wrong direction, I'm gonna say, oops, you fell in the water, you swiped in the wrong direction. I'm gonna take a life out of you. That is what we're gonna be doing right now. So stick around, keep tweeting, Flutter Live Coding. Make sure that you tweet, follow me so I can reach back out to you. And I'm going to be raffling a Roman Just Codes t-shirt just like this one. If you like it, if you like my swag, if you like the logo behind it, that is, again, as a token of my appreciation, I'm just going to be raffling that at the end of the session. So stick around. At the end of the session, I'll be raffling it. Let's continue. So I'm going to now stretch this back down, and we're going to continue working. So again, like I mentioned, I'm going to create like a system of messages. Yes, you can use, again, nothing against you using using the show alerts in Flutter, but I want to show you how you can create even your own messaging system. How do you do it? I want to create the same way that we created like the swiping region. I know, Sirhan, you tuned in that time, and you saw how I created the swiping. The swiping was just a region, a container that was interpreting my swipes, and then I was broadcasting those swipes to other interested items, other interested widgets in the application. This case won't be the difference. I'm gonna be creating the same thing. I'm gonna be creating a region where it's gonna be listening to changes, like to messages that I tell it. Like, show me a splash message, show me a simple message. And only that widget is gonna re-render, is gonna rebuild, and is gonna show the corresponding message. Let me show you how I would do it. I will start with creating, again, that system, that whole infrastructure, the whole plumbing of it. The plumbing will be, I need to pass, I'm gonna create a service eventually, but I need to pass a subset of values, a finite set of values that I'm going to determine what type of message I want to show. So I'm gonna start creating a helper. I'm gonna start creating an enum. So I'm gonna be creating an enum. I'm gonna call it frog messages. I'm gonna be creating it as an enum, and I'm gonna call it just like that, frog messages. Check this out. So I'm gonna be creating as an enumeration, and what are the type of messages that I'm hoping to show in my application? I'm gonna be showing a simple message that has like some text. I'm gonna be showing some messages for like the splash, like, oh, you fell on the water, you dumb frog, or whatever, something like that. So I need to pass like multiple things. So first of all, I'm gonna say none, meaning no messages, like this panel is just gonna clear itself. I'm gonna pass, for example, like simple messages, and for example, like a splash message. So for now, let's keep it simple. I'm gonna show 3 types of messages. The dialogues and the components for that will be custom made. I'll show you how you do that. So first, this is the plumbing that I'm creating. So I create the finite set of messages that I'm gonna be displaying, and of course, I want to create. Actually, I can close some of these. I'm gonna create like a service, another service that is going to be also capturing whatever, whenever I swipe, I'm going to then say, hey, if you swiped on the wrong direction, show the splash message. You swiped in the right direction, you're good. You arrived at a checkpoint. Oh, I can do that. Like checkpoint, I can do that message as well. For now, I'm gonna just keep it like that, but I'm gonna be creating another service because I want those widgets to communicate through services, and only the widgets that are listening and being notified of that change rebuild. Nobody else. Got it. So again, I'm gonna be creating just another service. I'm gonna be creating it. Yes, you guessed it. Frog messages service. I'm gonna create just a regular class. Call it frog messages service. This is gonna be triggering changes, notify my widgets of changes. So it's gonna be extends change notifier, of course. And you remember what I created here as frog messages? None, simple, and splash. Like I'm gonna be having 3 messages for now. So let's go back over, and I'm gonna be creating a property. I'm gonna be holding on to that in memory. You're gonna see it in the debug, in the Flutter developer tools. So I'm gonna be creating like a type of message. So I'm gonna say frog message. I need to import this, and I'm gonna just call it message type. And I'm gonna initialize it as frog messages.none because initially I want the panel to show nothing. Now I want to do this. Not only I want to show certain messages, I want to pass like text to those messages via the service. So any other widget or any other entity in the application can send messages to that widget and display it in there in a very simple way, in a very decoupled way as well. So I'm going to now just create like I want to create like a message string, like the actual message. I'm going to be creating it as a string. I'll show you why. We'll display it later. Now, of course, as you've seen me done in the past, I like to create a method that definitely is kind of like the entry point. Sorry about that. It's like the entry point to the service that then provides the broadcasting capabilities. So I'm just going to call something like set message, which will take 2 parameters. We'll take the type of the message that I want to set, that I want to display. For example, I'm going to say message type. I can pass it in there, right? Frog messages, so it has to be frog messages. And then I can say like message type, something like that. And I want to pass an optional parameter. How do you pass optional parameters in Flutter? You do them as named parameters. For example, I'm going to say string message content, and then you just initialize it right there. Like I initialize it as an empty string, so by default, if I don't pass a message content, it will be empty. But I can then pass using that name parameter notation, and then I can pass a message content. Because most of the time, I'm just going to be passing a type, not a message. But in the event that I really want to, I can just pass a name parameter, and this will be like an optional parameter in Dart. So now, again, simple, just like before. All I need to do is just say set the message to message content in the event that the user passes it, and just populate the message type with the message type that is being passed in there. That's it. And at the end, notify whoever is interested in this. So I'm just gonna say notify listeners. Got it. Check this out. So you see, I created my service, but now I need somebody to listen to this. I need somebody to listen to the messages that I'm sending in there. Somebody to capture, whether it's like a simple message or a simple message or a splash message or a none, something like that. Let me show you. So remember I said that I'm gonna be creating yet another component. I'm gonna be recreating a component that I will put right underneath the swiping region so that I can show the messages in there. Let me show you. Very simple, very simple. So I'm gonna be creating one widget that it will be actually placed here. Look, in my game page, this is the game page. I wanna display something that shows underneath the swiping. I'm gonna be showing messages in there. You may think like of as an alert message or like just a notification to the user, to the game. Let's make it really fun. That's why I'm not using like an alert or like a show alert or anything. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to be creating one widget called like frog. I have to create it as a constant. For example, constant frog messages. I'll call it like frog message panel. It doesn't exist yet. But you see, I want to keep it in between the frog and the swiping so that I can still swipe and messages get displayed to the user. So we're going to call it frog message panel. Sorry, I'm going to copy this. And of course, I'm going to be creating a widget called frog message panel. So I'm going to say frog message panel.dart. That widget is going to be there in between the swiping and the frog, and I'm just gonna show messages to the user. Very simple. Let's create this as a stateful widget, and I'll tell you why I want to create it as a stateful widget. You're gonna see why. So I'm gonna do stateful this time around, and I'm gonna call it frog message panel. The frog message panel is gonna be taking care of of handling, for example, like the messages in there. I want to add animations later on. For now, we're just gonna keep it like that, but I can just show it as with an animation, but I can keep it as a stateful widget. You know what? Let's do it as a stateless. When we get to the point where we want to make it as a stateful widget, we make it as a stateful. For now, I'll just keep it as stateless, not to confuse you. Let's just call it frog message panel as a stateless widget. Even simpler. Very simple. So remember, this frog message panel widget is going to be listening to the frog message service. Whoever says, set the message to be the splash, I'm going to show a splash message. Set the message to be simple, I'm going to show a simple message. Set the message to be none, I'm going to be showing nothing. So this is what this message is going to be doing. Let me import it. Now that I have it, even in a basic way, let me import it. So now let me go back to my frog message panel, and I'm gonna be building my structure in here. So check this out. Now I can do that trick that I told you. So this frog message panel is gonna be listening to that frog message service, which I think you guys already reminded me. I need to make sure to add it here. So I'm gonna, just that I don't forget. I'm gonna say frog messages service. That's what I called it. Go back to my message panel, and this is the trick that I do to do like the consumer. So I do wrap in a builder, and then I just say consumer auto import, and then I call it what? Frog messages service. There it is. And all I do here is frog message service and child. And of course I forgot this. There you go. See, that's my trick, just to like when I create like a consumer, I use a builder and then I replace the things. And there you go. So now I'm listening. Now let me show it to you in that application, so that way you see it in there. Let me do like a center widget, and then let's see if this widget is actually showing something in there. So I'm gonna say child. I'm gonna add like a text widget, and I'm gonna show the current message, the type of the message that we're triggering. For example, if I do here, frog message service message type dot name. What is the default that we said that we were gonna have? None, right? So we should see the word none right in the middle of the screen. If I save that and rebuild, the first thing that we'll see is the word none in the middle of the screen. Let me see. There it is, none. But now I want to be able to show other things, like the splash message. A none means I don't want to show anything. Splash will be like the splash message. Simple will be like a simple message. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, when I swipe, I'm going to show whether I'm actually swiping correctly or not. If I'm swiping correctly, you will see here the splash message. So when I'm swiping incorrectly, I will show the message in there called splash. How do you do that? Very simple. I will go again to the swiping gesture service, and you see that whenever I am doing, if the leaf matches the swiping direction, I do all my things in here, right? I do all of these things. But I haven't actually added logic to where the swiping doesn't match the next leaf. I need to do an else. So else, I'm gonna say else, then you send the message to the user saying, whoa, you did not match the message. So you need to then tell it, oh look, you know, there's no match in here. So you need to send the message and say, you fell in the water. So that is the splash message that I'm saying. So check this out. I am going to inject that service, the frog messages service. And then I'm going to say frog messages service. Of course, I'm going to do the same provider.auth. And then inject my frog messages service. I don't want it to rebuild, so I'm just going to say context and listen false. But when I'm swiping in the wrong direction, if I swipe in the wrong direction, this is when you're swiping in the correct direction. Else, I'm going to send a message. I'm going to inject this service. Whoever's listening to the frog message service is going to rebuild. So remember, I'm going to say frog message service dot set message. What is the message that we want to set when it's not the correct one? I'm going to say frog messages dot splash. That's it. Let's try this. So I should have actually done this up here so that I could say none. Like, you know, but later I'm going to show you how to do it. So check this out, how to fix that. So let's rebuild again. Initially, if I'm swiping correctly, you will see the word none. But as soon as I swipe incorrectly, you should see the word splash. Yes, correctly. Look at this. The word, it says none. I think you may see it a little bit in there. So if I swipe correctly, it's still none. But if I swipe in the wrong direction, you see the word splash. And then it stays there because, of course, I haven't reset it. I need to be able to reset it at some point. But what I want to do is actually make it so that this little message just shows for a little bit and then hides itself, instead of just me having to manually reset it in another logic. So let's work on that. How do we do it? I'll show you how to do it. So now that we have the plumbing created, you see how easy we created the plumbing to create like our messaging mechanism. We're going to be displaying messages to the user now. So if I do another hot restart and then you go back again, look, start is already none. If I swipe in the wrong direction, you get splash, right? There you go. So now let's build a structure that will show that, splash message in there. So, of course, I need to, instead of showing a center with that, what I need to do is actually pull the correct message type and then do it accordingly. So instead of returning something like this, what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to build a little switch statement. And then depending on the correct type of message that I receive, I am going to return the correct stuff. So check this out. I'm going to create like a widget. For now, I'm just going to create a widget, right? I'm going to say message widget, right? And I'm going to return this message widget. Depending on the type of message that the user has swiped and has provided via the service, I'm going to render a different widget. And then I'm even further going to create more encapsulated widgets. One for the splash, one for simple messages, one for other things. Check this out. So I'm going to do a switch statement. I'm going to say switch. And of course, the case will be the message type, right? So if it's a splash, I'm going to do a splash message. If it's a none, don't show anything. If it's a simple message, show a simple message, stuff like that. So I'm going to do my cases, of course. I need to implement all my cases. So I'm going to say If the frog messages is splash, here, of course, I need to do, message widget, I'm going to do a container, whatever, something like that. Here's going to be the splash message, and I'll do a break. Then if the message that I receive is the simple, I'm going to do one widget for the simple widget. I'm just doing placeholders for now, right? Because I'm going to be building those widgets further, right? And of course, my default case will be either when I say frog messages none, when let's say it's none, or it's just my default, I'm just going to do what? I'm not going to show anything. I'm just going to display an empty box. Look, I'm just going to say message widget, just an empty sized box, something like this, and then break out of this. And you see, I'm just going to return my widget. That's it. So I have a widget. Depending on the type, I assign it, and then I just return it. And then now I will have multiple types of widgets, each one of them encapsulated in their own right. They will rebuild accordingly. They can have services of their own. And you see, I've made this very decoupled and very well structured, as opposed to having like a crazy logic containing everything in there. So now let's now start diving into the building of these widgets. For example, I'm gonna only focus for now, in the interest of time, on the splash one, for example. And I'm gonna take a break to just notify you guys to make sure to tweet with the hashtag #FlutterLifeCoding during the duration of the session. And I'm gonna be shipping and raffling a Roman Just Codes t-shirt just like this one, so you can rock it, so you can promote my merch. Thank you very much for joining. This is as a token of my appreciation to you. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining. Make sure to tweet Flutter Life Coding during the duration of the session. You need to be here as well. And regardless of where you are, I'm going to ship it to you. Again, it takes a little bit when it's international, but you're going to get it eventually. Let's proceed. So now, again, remember we said that we wanted to display like a splash message, or a simple message, or none. So I'm going to go with a splash. So I'm going to be creating something called like I'm going to call it literally frog splash message. I haven't created it yet, but I will create it now. So you see, I build all these widgets in a very, achieving widget composition. I create all the widgets. Widgets are cheap. Use them, please. And again, I'm going to repeat all over again. Widgets, when you create widgets as opposed to helper methods, the widgets have their own life cycles, and you can control and localize the rebuilding of their widgets to their own little build method. So that is the kind of like the advantages of using widgets. Luke, how you doing, buddy? From Brazil, thank you very much. No, I won't be able to finish the whole project today, of course. It's gonna take a little more, of course, but yeah. What is the channel for Rose and a Clicker game? Yeah, you told me about the Clicker game. You're gonna have to pick me through Twitter or something like that. You're gonna have to give me more details on that, buddy. But yes, I can definitely, it would be really cool. But yeah, I won't be able to finish the whole thing tonight. I have a couple more episodes to go. But I just appreciate you joining, Luke. Thank you so much. All the way from Brazil. A shout out to my folks in Brazil. Luke, thank you so much for joining. But yeah, ping me through Twitter or LinkedIn. Let's connect. Tell me more about that. Maybe I can help you out. Got it. Let's continue with the frog splash message. So I'm going to be creating a separate widget, which I will be calling frog splash message. Nothing crazy about this. Thank you. Damien, thank you so much from Cuba. Hola, mis amigos de Cuba. Muchas gracias por sintonizar. Thank you, Damien Diaz. Thank you so much for joining, buddy. Now we're creating, again, the widget for the splash message. So I'm going to be creating it as a stateful widget, because I'm going to be doing some rebuilding in here, some timing, because I want to make sure to trigger the notification to hide this message. Let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to be creating it as a stateful widget, and I'm going to call it just like that, frog splash message. And it's gonna be representing that splash message, right? So I'm gonna be adding it. Let me just make some room in here. I'll make it as a stateful widget. I'm gonna have a couple of things in here in this stateful widget. Remember, I want to show the message, and then after like a couple of seconds, I want it to just hide itself. How do you do that? How do you do that? How does it hide itself? Remember, we want to tap into that mechanism that we created, the frog messaging service and this messaging panel. So we want to tap into that. How do we do it? First of all, let's start building the structure because we have the splash in there. So let's make sure that we load it all the time. So let me just reload it one more time. You will see that splash in there, and we're gonna continue rebuilding. So at the beginning it's none, as you saw, but then if I swipe in the wrong direction, of course, again, eventually you will see it here. For example, if I do child, center, and then if I say child text, here I am, for example. And then if I reload it, you will see if I swipe in the wrong direction, sorry, I haven't saved this, of course, and not imported either. So let's import this widget and now rebuild one more time. So let me rebuild. I've imported the frog splash message. We should be able to see a message in there. So now if I swipe in the wrong direction, there it is. It says, here I am. Now let me build on that widget. Let's build that little structure that looks like we're gonna make it look really cool. I promise you. So I want to remove this container because I don't need it anymore, but I'm going to need a center widget. I need anything that I build to be centered in the middle of the screen. One of the things that I want to do is I want to add a stack because I want to overlay a couple of things. So I'm going to be adding a stack widget, and I'm going to add some children in that stack. I'm going to be overlaying a couple of things. One of the things that I want to do is a container that we will use for like messages in there. So let's start by adding another widget. I'm going to call it like a container. And this container is going to have like a black color. So I'm going to be using and some borders. So I'm going to be using a decoration, box decoration. I'm going to be making it black. So I'm gonna say colors that black. I'm gonna be adding some padding and some rounding on that. So let's do border radius, and I'll do border radius that only. Why? Because I only want to apply rounding on this widget on the right hand side. So I'm gonna just say top left and bottom. Actually, top right and bottom right. So I'm gonna say top right. Let's do radius dot circular, and then let's apply like 20 pixels. I'm gonna do bottom right and apply another radius circle. So, I'm sorry, radius dot circular, 20 pixels. So I'm only rounding the bottom, the right hand side. Damien, you say, why not include the animations as your code as you want? Yes, you can do that, but I like to. You can definitely include animations as I code. Definitely, you can do that. But at least I want to build the initial structure so you see how I build the structure. Then we can build the animations. Totally. That makes total sense. Symmetric. You can use symmetric. Totally. I like to use but in this case I want to do only on the top corner. I'll show you why. So I only want to do top right, bottom right. So check this out. I don't want to do symmetric. I only want to do one side. But you can do symmetric, of course. Totally. Let me see what this look. Oh, well, actually the container needs something inside. So I want to do, for example, like, I want to add a column. Oh, see, I need, hide this thing. My container then will have, let me see, is this a decoration? Yes. Now my container, yeah, this is a decoration. Now the child of this container will be a column. So I'm going to add a column with some children. Like, let's say, like the first widget is going to be like, is gonna have like a text widget. It's gonna say like oops, like oops, you fell, something like that. Let's do something funny, right? So let's show something like this. Let's see. Let's start making it show. Let's do something like, let's add some style. So I'm gonna add style, text style, of course, and then I'll make it white. So I'll say colors that white, and I'll add a font size of 20. And let's see how things are looking. So I'll do 20 on that. Let me reload. You see what it looks like? So I think it's showing, but all the way at the top. So now what I forgot to put in here is make sure that my column only occupies the height based on the contents. So instead of just stretching like across like that, I only want it to be the minimum size. I will do main axis size dot min. And then the min, what it does is, if you see here, it's gonna say just minimize the amount of the free space only to the incoming constraints, meaning whatever the content I have, that's the minimum size that it's gonna get. So if I reload, you see now that it says oops, and it's only that. That's all it has. Very simple, very cool. So I'll actually increase the font size to like 40. Let me reload it. And I think we need like more padding. I think I need some padding in there. So let's add some padding, because I think I forgot to add that piece. So let's add some padding to that container. I'll do padding, edge insets. I'm gonna do it all around. So I can do all around. So we can do all around, or I can do something like only, and then I'm gonna provide, let's say, more on the left and some on the right. So I'll do like 60 pixels on the right, top right, bottom 20. Let's do top right, bottom 20 pixels. Let's do like that type of padding, and let's see what it looks like. Something like that. That's what I want. You see, it looks like that. Oops. And then it shows that. When the user falls down, we're going to be able to see that. So check this out again. So if I reload it, and then now I'm swiping and blah, 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 it doesn't show anything. But then when I'm like swiping correctly, swiping correctly, swiping correctly, swiping correctly, I swipe wrong. Oops. But now I need to show that, but then I need to hide it. I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me continue building the structure. So I'm just going to build the structure for now. So now I'm going to continue. I already added some padding. Let's continue building this thing. So I add this. I'll say, oops, blah, blah, blah. Let's add like another type of text widget. I'm going to say something like, watch your step because you fell down. Something like that. So I'm going to say, watch your step. Very simple. Something like that. Also, I'll do like another style on this. I'll say, style, text style. And then let's do like a color. And I think I already have some colors already assigned to this. So I'm going to make it also white. I'm going to say colors are white. I'm going to change the color on this one. And I'm going to use one of my predefined colors. So I'm going to say app colors dot burned yellow. So that is the one that I included earlier because I wanted to do it like this. I wanted to keep it like that. You see, it says, oops, watch your step. Okay, cool. That's what I want. I think I want them aligned on the left. So I want to make sure to say cross-axis alignment, cross-axis alignment dot start. I'll reload, and you see now everything just moves to the left. I'm good with that. Let's add also some stuff under that column under here, and I think everything in here, I think it will be pretty much like hard-coded. So I'm just gonna say constant here for now, so that it stops barking. Also, this guy is gonna be constant, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. So you see, the structure is coming along. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I want to add a row underneath that, and the row is gonna have actually, I need to fix that because it's gonna bark again. But I want to add a row where I'm gonna have like an icon. Actually, let me copy this thing from here. Like I want to copy from the top panel, like this structure right here, the one that has like the little froggy, is from here, from the game header. So I want to copy like this structure right here. Let me copy this just for kicks. Just humor me on this one. So in the children of the row, I'm gonna add like those elements in there. And then of course, because I added this, and I'm just gonna say, yeah, this is the one that's gonna be constant. Later on, we can change this, and then of course I need to import the icons. So I'm copying that structure. Why? Because I want it to look like this. Let me show you. So let me reload it one more time. I want it to look like that. Oops. Watch your step. These are the lives that are remaining, like that. Of course, the row doesn't need to stretch all the way. You do the same trick with the main axis size. You say main axis size that min, so that it does this. You see? I'm just keeping it very encapsulated. I need to make some changes on this thing because it doesn't look right. For example, let me change the smaller icon size. I'm gonna put something like 25. Let me change the color. I'll do the same color right here. This guy. I want it green as opposed to white. Let me reload it. Yeah, that's what I want. And that looks good. I think I need some spacing in between these two, the watch your step and the row. So I'm gonna add like a sized box with a height of 10. I think something like this may look okay. Yeah, something like that looks good. Got it. Now I want to say something like right next to the 3, I want to say like lives remaining. I want to do something like next to that. So I'm going to add it to the row, also with some spacing in between. I'm going to say const sized box. Actually, all of this is hard coded for now. I'm just going to do that. Let me see if it allows me to do it. Yeah, there you go. So I'm just going to do size box with a width of like, let's do 10. And I'm going to say text widget. And then it's going to say lives remaining. Actually, let's split it into 2 lines. Lives remaining. And then I'm going to make it like white. I'm going to say style. Text style. Colors that white. And what font? I can keep it like that. That's okay. So let me save it, reload. And then now you see that it says, oops. Watch your step. Lives remaining. 3 lives remaining. We're going to change all of this, later down the road. I want to also use maybe the same font for this. The same color. Reload. Yeah, I like that. I like that very much. So it's coming out. It's coming together. So all I need to say is watch your step. Can watch your step be like a little bit bigger? Where is it? I say watch your step. Let me add like a font size of like 20. Font size of 20. There we go. That looks more like it. Oops, watch your step. And then now what I'm going to show is, this is like a message that I'm going to be showing. I want to show this image right next to it because these are the type of the messages that I want to show to my user. I think I have it up here. I think it's called the Achieve badge. This one. I want to add that image next to that badge now. So I want it to like go side by side, but I want the image to be on top of that message. So let's use that guy. Let's go back to our frog splash message. I already have my structure. You can even collapse it because we're done with this. Now what I want to add to my stack is that widget, that image. And it's gonna be on top of that container. So it's gonna be like right down here. So I want to make sure that I'll say like image.asset, and I'm gonna load that my image. I'm gonna say assets.images. What did I call it? Splash badge. No, I think I called it Achieve badge or something like that. Is that what I called it? Let me see. Let me go. There's a splash badge. Oh, the splash badge. This is the one that I want to show. Yeah, that's better. It's when he falls down that I want to show that. So I'm gonna say splash badge.png. Let's see what this looks like. Actually, I want to constrain the translate. Damien, yeah, I'll translate. Translate, you mean like the positioning? Like translation? Like do a translate? Is that what you're saying? Or me translate what I'm saying? Either or. I'm going to provide like some dimensions to this. I'm going to say like, let's hard code it for now. I'll just do like 200 pixels. Let's see what it looks like. There it is. You see, that's what I want to do. I want like the image to show, but then I want it to look like a medallion next to that. And I'm gonna, of course, you see, I'm using the stack because I'm gonna overlay it right on top of it. So that's exactly what I want. So let's now kind of like split them. Translate the image left up. That is correct. That is exactly what I'm gonna do. But I have another trick. I can translate it doing left up, but check this out. I can just wrap this guy. Tell me how you would have done it. I would do it like this. Look, very simple. You can do a translation using positioning, but I don't want to constrain it to like pixel wise. I want it to make a determination based on the contents of the stack, as opposed to me saying, let's translate it to a specific position. Check this out. I can do this. I can center my widget. You see it is there. That one is also there up there, but let me see. I'll center this widget. I will also center this one. That's another way to do it. I like your approach, and yes, translate would work as well. But look, I'm centering both widgets. Now what I'll do, I could now do a translation, or even in another way. I'm just providing like other alternatives, but yes, your approach would also work. I can just wrap this in a position widget and translate it, but check this out. I can also grab the same container that I have right here, the same container, and I'll just do like some margin to it. Check this out. So this container, I could do margin, and then I'll do edge insets only and do like a margin of like, I'll do like left margin of 200. Actually, let's do like 120. That's 150, something like that. But check this out. You see, I like that. Now I'll just do the same thing, but on the other widget. I can wrap this image inside a container, and now I'll do the opposite. I'll do margin on the right, and then now they become they become farther apart. I can do something like margin const edge insets only, and then now the image could be now pushing the other side to the on the right hand side. So I can do right 200, something like that. Check this out. Boom. And I don't have to do translation. I can do translation, but at least instead of precisely position it left and top, and then I have to calculate the height and all of that, I can just do center, and then just on the horizontal aspect is actually where I was a little bit concerned. So check it out. You see, something like that is what I wanted. So you see that message? Let's reload again, and now you will see that when I swipe, I will see that message show. So now if I do this, I swipe, swipe, swipe. Now I'll swipe on the wrong direction, and my message will show. But unfortunately, the message will always show there. Let's now tell our parent, which is who? The Frog message panel. Remember, the Frog message panel is listening to the Frog message service. That messaging service right there can be notified from inside of that child widget to render itself and completely hide myself. That is like a way to say hide myself. So check this out. I can do that, and inside of this widget, in a very decoupled way, without me knowing about my parent, I can do just that. So the reason why I created stateful is because of this. The reason why I created stateful is because of this. I want to create a timer. I want to do this. I want to say late timer, and I'm gonna call it splash timer. I'm making it late because I'm going, of course, to instantiate it in a minute, and of course I'm gonna do something in my init state. So I'm gonna do override, and I'm gonna say void init state. Of course, you need to do super.init state. And of course, I never forget to clean after myself, and I do override, and then I do dispose. In the dispose of your stateful widgets is where you clean up after yourself. If you have timers, if you have controllers, if you have animations, stuff like that, you definitely do it here. So in here, I'm gonna say, what did I call it? Splash jumper. Splash timer dot cancel. So here I cancel anything that was in place. I will cancel it here. But let me not bore you with these details. Let me show you the cool aspect of this splash message that I will make it now hide itself after it just shows. How do you do that? Let's do it in a timer, just like I mentioned. So check this out. Splash timer. I'll use a timer. So you use the object of timer. I've used it in the past. I'm gonna use it here again. And the timer takes two parameters, a duration and a callback. So I'm gonna say show my message for like 2 seconds. For example, I'm gonna say const duration seconds 2. Show for 2 seconds, right? Then notify the Frog message service to hide any messages. So after 2 seconds, I'm gonna hide myself pretty much. So check this out. So the way that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say var frog message service, and then I'm just going to inject it. Very simple. in the init state. Maybe some people don't know that you actually have access to your context in the init state. So you can do provider.auth. I'm going to import the provider, of course. And I'm going to say provider.auth. What did I call it? Frog messages services. Yeah, that's what I called it. And now it's already injected, so I'm all good. So here I don't want to rebuild. I just want to do a context. Listen equals false. So now check this out. Magic. Like magic. Look. The service, and then I'm just going to say set the message to none, meaning this is going to say after 2 seconds, tell the messaging service to clear its content by just telling it to hide itself. Flutter Animate package. That will definitely be using the Flutter Animate. That is totally correct. Yes, I would love to use it. The Flutter is using in the, what is it called? Like Wonders of the World Wonder, something like that. I downloaded it. I do have it. I love that application. And it's actually using the Flutter Animate, which makes animations super simple. So in this particular case, let me continue. So I'm going to say frog messages.none. What I'm just telling the service is just say, just hide itself. Hide yourself after you reload, after you take the 2 seconds. Just tell the parent, meaning notify the frog message panel to clear its content. So I'm going to reload one more time. And now check this out. You're going to see it. After 2 seconds, it should hide itself. So I'm going to hit start. I'm going to swipe in the correct direction. I'm cranking. Oh, and look at that. Hides itself. Continue. I'm swiping. I swiped in the wrong direction. There is the message. Let me swipe. I swipe in the wrong direction. I fell down. Let me continue. Swipe. I swiped. You see? That is exactly what I wanted. If you swipe in the wrong direction, it takes 2 seconds. I tell the frog message panel to reload itself. All I'm just saying is sending a message to say, dude, just clear the contents in here. That's what I wanted. So yes, Damien, you say, I tried it and that was very simple. It should be the Flutter API. It's super easy to create effects. Yes, it's, you're mentioning that one, a lot of people, Damien is correct. A lot of people are suggesting to actually add the Flutter Animate that G Skinner built for, like, why don't they make it part of the library? Make it so easy. I use explicit animations. Yeah, they're very a little verbose, but it'd be great like to adopt that. I'll definitely include in my applications moving forward. It'd be great to be added to the full library. So cool. I just wanted to show you one thing that I wanted to improve, which we're going to incorporate into the application. Why? Because check this out. There's one thing that we need to refactor. Check it out. If I swipe and then I swipe and then I swipe in the wrong direction and then I swipe multiple times, it still shows the same one. It just waits until that one hides, that then, just shows itself again. I wanted to, when you swipe again, hide it and show another one, as opposed to me like swiping and then that is still the same one that was there before, because I want it to be more responsive. And if you swipe multiple times, I want the users to know, dude, you are swiping in the wrong direction. It's not like I'm swiping, then waiting, and then doing the next swipe. You could do that, but I want to trigger the notification and the rebuild much quicker. Every time I swipe, I want to trigger that. How would you do it? How would I do it? I will show you how to do it. For example, right now I'm swiping in the right direction, I'm swiping in the correct direction. Now I'm swiping in the wrong direction. My panel shows, 2 seconds later it hides. I can continue swiping and all of that, but if you wait for those 2 seconds, I definitely want to keep swiping. Look, I keep swiping. I want to do that. And if I swipe in the wrong direction a couple of times, I want to let the user know that they're swiping in the wrong direction, as opposed to let them wait and then you don't see how many lives are being deducted and all of that. So those are things that you need to incorporate in your code. The way that I'm going to do it is just in a very short period of time. I am going to reset the frog message panel to none. I'm going to reset it very quick. How would I do it? This is how I would do it. You see here in the message, in this method, you're calling the set message, and then you're passing like the message type, and you're passing the content, and you're just setting it like that. Check this out. I am actually going to reset it in a timer also. I'm gonna reset it real quick so that it just goes away. Check this out. I'm gonna say timer. I'm gonna import the timer, of course. But this is one way to do it. I would do it like this. I will add like a very short amount of time. I'm gonna say duration, but check this out. I'm gonna do like a 50 milliseconds. I'm gonna do like 50 milliseconds, something like this. Then in those 50 milliseconds, I'm gonna rebuild my panel, and then I'm gonna hide the widget. If there was one there before, it's gonna be cleared. Then the next one is gonna show. That way I can show many messages and they won't like have to wait until the other happens, until the other finishes. I wanted to just clear them right away if there's another one coming in, because you wanna notify your users of things that are happening on the game in real time. So the only thing I'm gonna do here is very simple. Check this out. I'm just gonna grab these two guys. In a timer, I'm just gonna say here, when you go for the first time, you're gonna set it to none. So I'm gonna say frog messages, set it to none first. But then here is when then you're gonna set it to the actual one that you really are interested about. What will this generate? Let me show you what is it that I mean. Why then when I set a message, I am resetting it? It's because when you come in, you're clearing the panel, then show the message. You're clearing it all the time. That way you don't have to reset it somewhere else. You don't have to forget that you have to reset it so that you show the next message. So check this out. Now if I reload the whole thing and then I show one message, for example, I'm swiping, and then I swipe in the wrong direction. And then if I swipe in the wrong direction, you see I'm resetting it all the time. If I now continue swiping, and then if I do this, I can swipe again. But you see, I can do this, swipe, it resets it. Instead of waiting for this message, waiting for the 2 seconds, then showing another one. You definitely would want that if you want to show other types of messages. And you, let's say that one, you just want to take it out of the way because another message came in. As opposed to like stacking them up, I don't want that. I'm not going to reinvent alert messaging mechanisms. We're just building a fun game, but you want to notify your users. So that is exactly what I'm building here. So I'm swiping the wrong direction, show the message, hide it, continue. If you want to continue, that's okay, but I can continue swiping. Look, I can continue swiping and then the message goes away. I don't have to wait for the message to go away for me to continue swiping. That's why I put it right under the swiping mechanism. So I do this, I swipe in the wrong direction, but I can continue swiping. But if I made another mistake, for example, if I do this, and then if I made another mistake, like this, for example, there you go, I get the next one. And then if I get the next one. You see, I don't wait for one to hide for me to show the other or like to stack them up. I reset it every time I come in. Great. So I think that we're right about time. Just wanted to make sure that all of you, give it. There you go, Damien. You said if you swipe correctly before the widget disappears. Look at this. So if I swipe correctly before it disappears. So if I do this, and then if I swipe correctly, I think I got your message a little late. I think there's a little delay. Yeah. If you do this and then you continue swiping, you let it go away. You let it go away. Like I'm not keeping users waiting until they do the next swiping. I don't want to do that. I just want them to continue, or we can short the amount of time that we're showing it. For example, I can do the panel, the frog splash message. I can decrease it to like a minute and a half. I can do like milliseconds, like 1500. I can do something like that. And then now it will look like a little quicker, but you still can swipe even while it's still showing. So if I do this and then I swipe in the wrong direction, I can continue swiping. You will see it underneath the message. Like the message is not intrusive enough. Great. So now we're right about time. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Damien, thank you for joining. Randall, GDE, Flutter GDE, thank you so much for joining and providing some inputs and also suggesting additional packages. Sirhan, thank you so much for joining. Mr. Shinchan5, thank you so much for joining. Thank you everybody who are still watching. Now I'm gonna do the raffle. Let's see who's gonna win this amazing Roman Just Codes swag t-shirt as a token of my appreciation. Thank you so much for joining this session every Wednesday. Live coding in Flutter. I call it what is it? I call it a live coding after hours. I call it live coding after hours because this is the time where I'm the most productive. But I want to bring you along in this ride. I want to give you exclusive access to my development process. I love the suggestions, guys. So thank you so much. Keep bringing that in. Now let me I'll do this the same way that I do it all the time. I use this cool tool called Wheels of Names. So I do wheel of names actually, and this is how I pull out like everybody who has joined. So let's see if I'm gonna give you like a minute if you want to tweet Flutter live coding so that you can enter the raffle for a Roman Just Codes t-shirt. So I'll give you a minute so that you can join the raffle. Tweet right now, Flutter live coding. You need to be present so that you can get that. So let me just now come over here and say import Twitter users with the hashtag Flutter live coding. Whoever tweeted with this hashtag is gonna enter automatically in the raffle to get a Roman Just Codes t-shirt. I keep saying Flutter because next week I'm gonna do a Flutter t-shirt. I promise you guys. So let's now give everybody a chance. Thank you, Damien. Gracias, hermano. Thank you so much. Joining all the way from Cuba. So let's check it out. Let's see where everybody is. There we go. So we got a couple of folks already. Not me. I don't need that. There we go. I see a couple of folks already joined. So now let's see. Duportier. Hey, we're here as well. Camilo, thank you for joining. I see Flutter Argentina. I think a couple of folks from Argentina. So thank you so much for joining. Gracias a todo el mundo por haber sintonizado. Espero lo hayan disfrutado. Just wrapping up. I'm wrapping a little bit of my Spanish there. So just wanted to say thank you everybody for joining. Are you here, Randall? Which one is you? Which one is your hashtag? Are you joining if you want? I mean, you're valid. You're also part of the family. So I just wanted to see if you wanted to join the raffle. Otherwise, I'm just gonna roll the. You want a Flutter t-shirt? Let's see. I mean, you're in Cuba. Let's see how that works, man. I don't know how that works, but let's work it out. If anybody wins anyway, please, thank you so much. Is your name in the list? Is your name in the list? If your name is not on the list, unfortunately, you won't be able to enter. Now, let's see who's going to win the Roman Just Codes t-shirt right here. So I'm going to spin it. Good luck, everybody. Let's see who's going to win it. And we have Carspars Kambala. I hope I got your name, your Twitter handle correctly. Thank you so much, Carspars Kambala. Whatever your name is, please ping me through Twitter. Send me a DM. I'm going to get your information through there, and I'm going to ship you your t-shirt. You are the winner. Congratulations. Thank you so much. For the rest of you, thank you so much for joining. This was amazing. Just wanted to say again, thank you everybody for joining. I am Roman. I am a Flutter GDE. I do this every Wednesday. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday where I'm going to continue building this application for all of you. I love everybody. Yeah, we can definitely work it out and then if anything happens. But yes, please make sure to tune in next Wednesday where I'm going to be continuing building this casual game. You see how all of these strategies and the way that I'm building this application not only applies to games, it applies to business applications, to line of business applications, to your current applications. Simple structure, clean structure, state management, inter-widget communication, building custom widgets, building UI layouts and whatnot. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining. This was Live Coding After Hours, Flutter edition. I am Roman, Flutter GDE. See you on the next one. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Take care.